Back to Couch Casual, where today we are going to be doing once again another mock draft. It's a Monday, so it's a mock draft Monday, and today's mock draft is going to be the post combine mock draft. The combine just finished up or is wrapping up as I'm recording this video, and for this combine mock draft, not a ton will change in terms of my first round because it's just going to be a one round mock draft. But there are some players that shot up the boards and are going to get picked a lot higher now potentially because of this combine, and we'll put a little more heavy emphasis on the really good first round picks from the combine. And you'll notice that quickly in this draft. But we are going to start off with, of course, Mendoza going to the Raiders. Nothing too different here. I think he's been mocked to the Raiders in every single mock draft that I've done. The only time he wasn't was my way too early mock draft when I had Arch Manning going number one, and Mendoza wasn't even a first round pick. But outside of that, it's always been Mendoza to the Raiders at one. Now the Jets at two, I feel like they could go either way here. Or two ways. They could go Ruben Bain, or they could go with Arvell Reese. It's honestly a toss up between the two. And I don't know, they're gonna lose Quincy Williams in free agency potentially. I don't really know how much I love their linebacker room, so I'm still gonna keep going with Arvell Reese to the Jets at two, but again, I could easily seeing it be Ruben Bain to the Jets at two. At three, I'm gonna keep the Cardinals going with Mauigoa, tackle out of Miami, and that leaves the Jets or the Titans to take Ruben Bain. Now, if I had the Jets take Ruben Bain, then I would simply just have had the Titans take Arvell Reese. I think this is going to be the top four as of now, and I don't think much is going to change outside of, again, potentially Reese and Bain switching places. Now, here's where we will get the first pick that's changing due to the combine, and that is going to be Sonny Styles going to the Giants at five. I've always gone receiver here, always gone Carnell Tate. But Sonny Styles had an insane combine, blew everyone away. His stock has shot up. I've constantly had him go to Dallas at 12, but I think he's easily a top 10 pick now. And so for our post combine mock draft, we're going to have him not only be a top 10 pick, but he's going to be a top 5 pick to the Giants. They just cut Bobby Okereke, or they're going to cut Bobby Okereke. There was a report about that. And to me, that's like they're going all in on Sonny Styles here by getting rid of Bobby Okereke. So that is the pick at 5. Now the Browns at 6 have always gone with Jordan Tyson. Jalen Tyson's his brother. Jordan Tyson. But Carnell Tate's on the board now for the first time for Cleveland. There are reports that Cleveland could be heavily interested in trading back out of this pick, which would be interesting, but we're not going to do any trades right now. So we are going to have the Browns now take Carnell Tate at 6 because he doesn't go to the Giants. Commanders at 7. It's between David Bailey and Caleb Downs. It's always been. I've gone Caleb Downs more recently, but I'll switch it up for this time. I didn't switch it up with Bain going to the Jets, so I'll switch it up here, and we will go David Bailey to the Commanders at 7. I think I could easily see it being one of him or Caleb Downs. Now, if Sonny Styles makes it to Washington at 7, I think that's the pick. But in this mock, he does not make it to them at 7. So we're going to go David Bailey just to switch it up from the usual Caleb Downs. And instead of the Saints going with their usual David Bailey, they're now going to go Caleb Downs. I know they don't necessarily need a safety. Jeremiah Love is probably more important of a position for them. Mekhi Lemon, probably an edge rusher. But Caleb Downs is the best defensive player at this point on the board. So I think it's a no-brainer for New Orleans to go Caleb Downs. Chiefs at 9, we're going to stick with Jeremiah Love. They need running back help desperately. Both their 2 running backs are free agents. I think this is just a perfect match for Jeremiah Love. Unfortunately, it'd be really Really tough to see Jeremiah Love in a Chiefs jersey, but that very well could be a possibility. Cincinnati at 10, I've always gone Peter Woods as like the best defensive player that they need. They could go edge rusher, but I don't know if they want to go edge rusher with David Bailey off the board. I'm going to go, instead of Peter Woods, I'm going to go a different interior D lineman. I'm going to go Caleb Banks. Great combine Banks had. He had an insane vertical for the size that he's at. He's 6'6", 330. And he had like a 38, was it 38, 32? Something like that, inch vertical. And he could shoot up the draft board. So we're going to have him shoot up all the way to 10. Miami at 11, we're going to keep Mansour Delane going here. They need corner desperately, and Mansour Delane's the best corner available. I think it's a no-brainer. Dallas at 12, they've been the Sonny Styles destination, but he's off the board. They can't go Jeremiah Love. He's also off the board. Now, I don't think they would because they extended Javonte Williams. I think the only reason they would go Jeremiah Love is because they let Javonte walk. But regardless, he's off the board anyway. They could go corner and get Jermon McCoy. They still could go linebacker. Yeah, he's not Sonny Styles, but CJ Allen's still pretty good. They could use safety and go Dylan Tyneman, who's going to go much higher than I've had him before because of his combine performance. But I'm going to go with Keldrick Folk out of Auburn. It feels like he's going to be the first edge rusher taken post David Bailey. Out of him, Mesidor, Howell, TJ Parker, that group of guys, it feels like he's going to be the first one taken in that group. So Dallas needs pass rusher after getting rid of Micah Parsons. They can't get their guys Sonny Styles or Caleb Downs either. So I think it makes sense for them to go pass rusher. Rams at 13, I'm going to keep Jermon McCoy going to the Rams. They need cornerback help so bad. And again, best corner available. I think it makes perfect sense. I don't think they go QB there. They could go tackle, but I still think they have their 29th pick. I think there'll be some good tackles available for them at 29. But I don't think you'll get a guy like Jermon McCoy available at 29. Ravens at 14. They could go pass rusher and go with Mesidor or Cassius Howell. But I'm going to go Mekhi Lemon. They need receiver help. It's just Zay Flowers, and that's pretty much it. Adding a very, very good receiver in Mekhi Lemon will significantly elevate that receiver room. Tampa Bay at 15, another guy that shot up the draft boards after his combine, or just a guy that had a great combine, is Kenyon Sadiq out of Oregon. Now, this isn't significantly higher than when he's gone. I've normally had him go to the Panthers or to the Eagles. But Tampa needs a tight end. K. Dotton's a free agent. And after the combine, Kenyon Sadiq had, I don't see why you don't go with him here at 15. Jets at 16, they went with Arvell Reese at 2. And I've gone receiver sometimes if Mekhi Lemon's been on the board, but he's not on the board anymore. But you know who is on the board? Jordan Tyson. The Ravens could have went with him too at 14, but I think the Jets go receiver here. There's not a quarterback you're going to take. You could go Peter Woods or Caden McDonald at the interior D-line position. Could go with a CJ Allen, but I think they need some playmakers outside of Garrett Wilson, so we're going to go Jordan Tyson. And again, Tyson might go here. If these two teams go receiver, either of these two could go to either team, but I'm just more predicting Ravens go receiver and Jets go receiver. And I just went Lemon just because. Lions at 17 could go corner, could go pass rusher, but their O-line is getting up there in age. They're getting injured as well. Taylor Decker doesn't have many years left in him. I know Spencer Fano played right tackle the last few years in college, which is what Penei Sewell plays. But in his freshman year, he did play left tackle, so he has experience playing left tackle. They need their Taylor Decker replacement. I like Spencer Fano to the Lions at 17. Minnesota at 18 is going to keep going Avion Terrell. They need cornerback help badly. And outside of him, the next corner is Brandon Siss. So there's no other corners worth taking there if you're Minnesota at 18. and they desperately need corner. They could go running back in general because they just announced that they're going to cut Aaron Jones, but you're not going to take a running back here at 18. They could go center, but again, no center, you're going to take it 18. Easy to go corner there. Panthers at 19, we're going to continue to go CJ Allen. Sadiq's off the board. Sonny Styles is off the board. Avion Terrell is off the board. They could go interior D-line and go McDonald or Peter Woods, but I just think they need help at that linebacker position so bad. I think it's easily the weakest point of their team. And CJ Allen, I don't think is that too far of a reach at 19. Maybe his ideal spot is in the low 20s, but I don't think 19 is terrible. Dallas at 20, they went and got Keldrick Folk at 12. And you know who had a great combine? We mentioned it briefly. Dylan Tyneman. I still don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Out of Oregon. He impressed me a lot at the combine. And Dallas needs help at safety. They don't need to go pass rusher because they got Keldrick Folk. The only linebacker you're going to take potentially would be Anthony Hill. I don't think you take him at 20. Dylan Tyneman, I think, is the best player available outside of the two edge rushers. And Dallas just got an edge rusher with their 12th pick. Pittsburgh at 21, I'm going to keep going Denzel Boston. They need help at receiver. It's just DK Metcalf. Boston's range is right around here, it seems like. And he's another bigger, physical receiver at 6'4", 209. He's not DK Metcalf physical, but he's a bigger target as well. Chargers at 22, it's going to keep being Vega Ione out of Penn State. I don't know a team that needs a position more than the Chargers need help on the interior offensive line. And Vega Ione, just like how Boston is perfect range at 21, Ione is perfect at 22. He honestly could go higher to teams like Baltimore or even Miami or Cincinnati even. But I think this is great. If he gets past Baltimore at 14, I guess maybe even Tampa. If he gets past Tampa at 15, I think it's a very good chance that he falls to the Chargers at 22 and that they take him at 22. Philly at 23, that's right. Now, Sadiq's off the board, who I've liked giving them Sadiq. I don't mind tackle, but again, they have Mailata at left tackle, Lane Johnson at right tackle. They don't need Mailata's replacement. They need Lane Johnson's future replacement. But Freeling, Caden Proctor, and Caleb Lomu are all left tackles. But a position Philly could use some help in is edge rusher. So we're going to go Cassius Howell out of Texas A&M to Philly at 23. It's him, Parker, or Mesidor. I think Howell is the best of those three. Cleveland at 24, they went and got Carnell Tate at 6. I've given them tackle here at 24 because they need help at tackle. And out of Freeling, Proctor, and Lomu, it really doesn't matter for me. I just think with the three really good tackles on the board, they go tackle. I normally give them Proctor, so we'll switch it up and we'll go Monroe Freeling out of Georgia to Cleveland. Chicago at 25, I think they either go one of the two pass rushers in Mesidor and Parker, or they go one of the two D linemen in McDonald or Peter Woods. Peter Woods fell to them at 25. Normally, McDonald's the only interior D line worth taking here. I guess Lee Hunter too. But Peter Woods falls to Chicago at 25, so we'll go with Peter Woods out of Clemson to Chicago. Baltimore at 26, we're going to continue to give them KC Concepcion. They need help at receiver. You got Keon Coleman. We're still not sure who Keon Coleman is. And then outside of that, it's Khalil Shakir and then a bunch of depth guys. They need some juice at that receiver room with KC Concepcion. San Fran at 27. I think O-line makes sense here. They could go pass rusher if they don't believe in Mykel Williams. But I think you give Mykel Williams one more shot here. Maybe you invest in a veteran pass rusher. But I don't know if you use a first-round pick on a pass rusher. And Trent Williams might end up actually leaving San Fran. They're at a little bit of a dispute right now, and he could hit the open market via trade or free agency or whatnot. And even with Trent Williams, you should still probably draft a tackle if you're San Fran. But now that you might not even have spent Trent Williams in the first place, you definitely need tackles. So we're going to go Caden Proctor to San Fran at 27. Houston at 28. Their offensive needs, all their offensive needs, aren't really worth taking here at 28. And their biggest need on defense is interior D-line. Caden McDonald's right here. It makes perfect sense. Normally they've gone Christian Miller, but Caden Proctor fell to them at 28 because the Bears went with Peter Woods. So I think that makes sense for Houston at 28. Rams at 29, they got their corner in, Jermon McCoy, and we're going to continue this trend of giving them a tackle with their second first-round pick. We're going to go Caleb Lomu. You got to keep Stafford upright and your future quarterback because we don't know how long Stafford's going to play. The Rams could draft a quarterback here in the draft or next draft. You also want to keep him upright and get a young franchise tackle at pick 29. I think is amazing value for the Rams to help Stafford and their next quarterback. Broncos at 30. Similar to Houston, their offensive needs, they probably need to go more offense, but none of the players they need on offense make sense here at 30. So I've gone defense, and their biggest need on defense is linebacker. And Singleton's older and a free agent. Dre Greenlaw's slightly older and somewhat injury prone. They could use some help at that linebacker position. So I've always gone Anthony Hill out of Texas to Denver. New England at 31. It's O-line or pass rusher. There's 3 really good pass rushers, but mainly 2 in Mesidor and Parker. So I'm going to go with Akeem Mesidor out of Miami to New England at 31. And then finally, Seattle at 32. Similar to Houston, similar to Denver. They should probably go more on offense, but none of their needs on offense are really worth taking at 32. But they could use some corner depth. So we're going to continue to go Brandon Siss out of South Carolina to Seattle at 32. Quickly zoom out so you can see the entire first round. And that will conclude our first round mock draft. Let me know in the comment section some of your thoughts on my picks, who you want your team to pick at their spot. And if you join the video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.